playoff series without Giannis is like we've beaten some good teams as is,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's kind of how to look at it. So is that just sort of the mindset as you've gone through this before, maybe not having him at times?
Yeah, I mean, look, Giannis has been tremendous. Obviously, everyone knows on the floor, but off the floor, and the role that he has when he doesn't play. And I think for us, it's about making sure we understand who's ready and active for game one and focusing on that and being ready to go with the guys that are active and understanding that we're playing a great team and they got tremendous talent and they have injuries as well. Like everyone at this time of the year has injuries, so it's the unfortunate part of the game, and we got to be ready to roll with who we have. And Giannis will be instrumental in his vocal leadership that he's continued to show time and time again over the 6 years I've been here. They're still playing fast. I think without a Buddy Hield and Bruce Brown, certain guys, they may be shooting a little bit less threes, but they still get them up. And they may be attacking the paint a little bit more with Pascal. So we got to continue to defend the paint at a high level. But transition defense is where it all starts, and that's kind of what fuels them, and that's something that we got to make sure we do a better job of. And then I would say secondarily making sure that we rebound the basketball. I think for them, second chance points can be big if they're missing shots, if they're missing threes, those long rebounds, trying to do a better job of rebounding within your area. And then lastly, making sure we execute on offense because a bad shot or a bad miss can be as good as an outlet pass in their playbook. So I would say those are kind of the three areas that we want to make sure that we focus on. Yeah, I mean, look, I think for us, we've always played well with a chip on our shoulder, but we've also never really necessarily looked at if we're the underdog or the favorite. I think for us, we've always gone into series with confidence, always gone into series that we can win if we do the things that we do best, but you can't win a series in game one, right? So coming out and making sure that we execute the game plan that we have in front of us for game one, and then make adjustments accordingly. I think over the 6 years I've been here, and 5 years of playoffs, this will be the sixth, the series has been different all the time, right? And, when you look at last year's series or you look at 2 year series before, we've hit adversity in every single one. How we've responded to adversity is really what's determined if we've won that series or not. But we're focused on game one, and I think game one's obviously where it needs to start.
Do you have to keep it below 11 a game in playoffs, or is there a certain goal or a certain benchmark that you look for?
No, I mean, we'd love to turn the ball over 0 times. That's obviously not necessarily going to be realistic on a game-by-game basis, but I do think if we focus on taking care of the basketball possession by possession, the turnover number can be low. We have experience. We have guys who understand how important one single possession basketball is in the playoffs, and just making sure that we get a shot every single time is going to give us the best opportunity, obviously, to score, but to win a game. And I think for us, turnovers has been something that have hurt us in the last few weeks, the last few months, whatever it might be. But for us, it's about making sure that we don't turn the ball over and we try to get a good shot every time. Mm-hmm.
How big a role do you feel like you could play, like connecting a Dame pick and roll on one side to a Chris DHO on the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty big role considering, I've started to play third string point guard, and then I'm always on the second side when I'm in with the starters. So I'm on kind of both ends of it, if you will. And I think for me, just understanding the game plan, understanding that, hey, in the playoffs, they're going to take away that first option. If we got an open shot, take it, shoot it, fire it, Dame, Chris. But the odds are Coach Carlisle isn't going to let us get open shots on the first action. So making sure we get it to a second action and use our basketball IQ to understand what that second action is going to be used for. Obviously, we want to be aggressive. We want to try to score off it. But if you can get it to a third action, that's even harder to defend. And I think for us, making sure that we are strategic and deliberate with our movements on who's in what spot, and then understanding how to read the game on who's in what spot when you go into a second side action, or if you have, a pick and roll with Dame and Brooke, and Brooke rolls and Dame hits the next side. Is it Chris in that corner, or is Chris on the other side, on the strong side, where you fake it to the corner and go back to the other side, and it becomes a little bit of a staggered DHO away? Like, being a little bit better with those things and more intentional is kind of what we've worked on this week.
I know it's been a little while, but how much are you looking forward to playing with Damian again in a playoff run?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think, we've had, in my time with Dame, we had a good run and a bad run. And I think, seeing how he responds throughout the course of a playoff series, but seeing how he handles himself and how he has a calm demeanor about him, coupled with a competitive edge and a chip on his shoulder, but he never gets emotional. So, he's always thinking, and maybe it's because he, boxes so often, right? You get hit in the face a few times when you box, but he always has that, famous quote, a fight doesn't or everyone knows what they want to do until they get hit in the face, right? And when we get hit in the face and we face adversity, he's always got a calm demeanor about him, and is always thinking tactically about how to hit back and how to find a way to fight through that adversity. And so to be in a playoff situation with him again, knowing that's his mindset and that's how he operates, will be really fun.
Dan was just saying that he feels like the vibes this week have been the best all season. Really, I'm curious how things been for you from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we had a week of practice. We haven't had a week of practice, I think, with our new coaching staff. Everybody healthy, obviously, except for Giannis. But we haven't had time, and you know who you're facing, right? Like, you know who you're going into the playoffs facing. So I think it's been a great week. I think it's been a week that we can really build upon. But, now is when it starts, taking all the things that we implemented this week, all of the things that we went over this week, and making sure that they're simplified and we know what are the 1, 2, 3 things that we think are keys to this first game, and really trying to go out and execute in game one on a quarter-by-quarter, possession-by-possession basis.
We've done this for 6 straight years, I guess a couple years on Zoom.
Yep.
For you, just thinking about what Pat Connaughton looked like at the start of the playoff run the first time you guys
Yeah.
got together, and now 6 years later, I would feel like you guys have kind of learned, or maybe you personally have learned, just from, what is going to be required in the playoffs, what kind of energy you need to bring, like how you get ready for what could be a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's day by day, first and foremost. I'll use the second point would be a Bud line. Like, you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are. And that's fans, media, each other. Like, it's the other team. Like, there are highs and lows in a playoff series. I remember my first year here, we swept Detroit, and then we lost game 1 to Boston, and everyone was saying it was over. And then we gentlemen sweep Boston in the next 4 games, right? Like, but we've had to go the other way. We tied up the series last year against Miami 1-1, and then we lost 3 straight games. So realizing how long a series can be and how many ups and downs there are, I think one of the things I've learned is the mental side of it, the mindset that you take game by game, quarter by quarter, run by run, because each team's going to make their runs, is really what dictates wins and losses within a 7-game series. And so for me, trying to make sure, on the court, understanding what my role is, and I think I've done a pretty good job of it in past playoffs and executed it pretty well. I enjoy playing in the playoffs, but also leadership-wise, vocally, making sure the young guys, making sure the guys who haven't been a part of this nucleus's playoff runs can all stick together and have each other's backs and make sure when adversity hits, everyone gets stronger or gets more together as opposed to the contrary.
What is Giannis like when he doesn't play? He's on the bench. What's his behavior like?
Look, Giannis is a funny guy. Like, he has a great sense of humor. I don't think sometimes, obviously, you guys see it with dad jokes and things that he's done in years past. But when he's in the locker room, when he's on the bench, he's got a great balance of being his locked-in self as far as how the game's going. Obviously, more so when he's playing, but still does it when he's not. And picking somebody up in like a funny way, cracking a joke or doing something that will lighten the mood, that will make guys feel loose, play free. I think him and I, throughout the course of the 6 years I've been here, I've always talked about how fascinating it is, that balance between being locked in but making sure you're loose, having fun, playing free. Like, that combination is what brings out the best, I believe, in him and our organization as a whole, and it starts with him, and I think he does a great job whether he's got the uniform on or he's inactive, of carrying that balance and making sure whether he does it and, you know, addresses the group as a whole or he does it with guys individually, he does a great job of that.
I don't know if those Portland playoff games feel like a million years ago, but I wondered if you have any specific memories with you and Dane, because I don't know, when you first got here, you kind of considered him a mentor to you. Is there anything that stands out? I mean, I know the adversity you talked about and the calm demeanor, but was there a play or a particular thing that stands out that you'll remember forever?
No, I mean, look, I wouldn't say no, I'd say there's a bunch of them. I think the general gist of the things, like my first 2 years, I didn't play much in Portland, right? So seeing how he operated, I had a closer eye on it because I wasn't in the throes of it as much. And that second year, we made a great run, and obviously there was injuries to the Clippers with Chris Paul and Blake and stuff like that. But even prior to those injuries coming back, we were down 0-2. You know, he was fully confident we were going to win Game 3, and he knew you win Game 3. Like, that changes the series. You know, you get 2-1 is way different than 3-0, and you can gather some momentum. And a series never usually starts until, you know, somebody wins on the opposing team's floor. And those little tidbits that I learned early on from him through those Portland runs about how crazy a playoff series is, and then how crazy it can change based off of one game, one play, one possession.